Yeah, I know you've been waiting for this for a minute. Go on and have a seat. Hello, it's your boy, Dapper the Don, and I hope you're having a wonderful day today. I already know how many of you clicked into this video because you've been asking for it all this month. And here it is, story time, when I accidentally started a gang war. Now before we start, I know you guys love these story times, but god damn it, they take a long time to work on, and while it may be entertaining, believe it or not, my life isn't that crazy. I have only so much stories as I'm still living my young life. I like to bring these videos to you guys once a month, but after the last one, you guys have been fiending for these videos, so this is what I will do. The story time with the most likes is the first one with 800 likes. So if we can get this video to 1,000 likes, then I will put aside the other videos I have for you guys and give you a part 3 in that same month. Now moving into the story, last where we left off at for a quick recap is, I went to this high school that was by my townhome when I was popular because of my older sister. At my townhome called Coventry, there were a group of teenagers and kids there that called themselves the Coventry Boys. I unknowingly got initiated by the group, and I didn't know until I was in some drama with a girl named Alexandra that my sister introduced me to, and the same girl boyfriend named Wiz, who I ended up falling into a beef with. Wiz wanted to fight me because of a phone call his girl Alexandra got, cursing her out when it was my sister the whole time. But when the leader of Coventry Boys, Day heard about this, he decided to take matters into his own hands and knocked Wiz out in the cafeteria with the meanest one-piece I've seen in my life. After running out the cafeteria with the Coventry Boys, I found out that I was deep into this group, but instead of letting them know this was a huge mistake, I played into it and ended up making things worse. Now let's continue where we left off at. After the accident, we decided just to stay where we were, away from the cafeteria, because we knew for a fact there was probably staff there trying to figure out what happened. It was still morning, so we made our way to our classes and told each other not to make a big deal or tell anyone that it was us who was in that fight, which was honestly dumb because it didn't take the staff long to find out it was us who had something to do with it. Small flaw about being popular in school is everyone not only knows when you are in drama, but they also know what class you have at every time. And it's so much people who know you that you can't really know who was it that gave up your name. So I'm in my first period class, and I'm just chilling talking to my honestly only person who was a normal teenager friend named Christian, talking about DC Universe Online on the PS3. Christian was Spanish, but a white passing guy who was sort of an outcast, which I loved about him. He always kept to himself, and we had our little spot during lunch in one of his teacher classes, who he was cool with. The teacher would be on their computer grading papers or whatever teachers do during lunchtime, while we would just be nerds talking about video games and comics. I didn't tell him about the drama I was in because I didn't want him to get involved into my mess. So everything is chilled until I see the school security walk in the class. I already knew what they was here for, as I wasn't hard to find, so I turned to Christian like I was his father, and he was about to see his father get arrested, and told him, "I'm going to have to go, he's here for me." The security told the teacher that he needed something real quick and pointed at me and gestured me to come. Christian is confused and asks me what happened, but all I could conjure to say was hitting him with the Kanye West shrug, and took my bag and walked with the security. Once I'm in the hallway, the security says to me, "You know why I'm here, so I don't even got to talk to you. Make your way to the principal office." And I obey his request. I make my way to the office, and I see he's already waiting for me with his door open. I sit down in front of his desk, and he closes the door behind me and sits at his desk and says, "So you want to tell me what happened?" I already know rule number 1 if you were in a fight is don't say anything, so I hit him with the Kanye West shrug and tell him, "I don't know, I was hoping you would tell me why you took me away from my learning experience." I'm not normally sarcastic like that, but the hype that the Coventry Boys gave me was still running through my body. The principal then asks me, "So you and your friends didn't jump that boy in the cafeteria?" I look at him with a what the hell face and told him, jumped nobody at the cafeteria. I don't know what you're talking about. He replies with, "Boy, we have multiple people saying they have seen you," and proceeds to name every Coventry Boy government name running out the cafeteria. You don't have to speak, but best believe we are pulling each and every one of you guys out your class and asking each of you one by one what happened. And if I find out you had something to do with it, best believe you're getting suspended. I didn't want to get suspended for something I didn't do, and I didn't believe that if they asked every single Coventry boy separately, that everyone's story would have been the same. So I tell him, "Bruh, if you looked at the cameras, then you would see why I shouldn't even be here." But as the B school it was, there weren't any working cameras at the cafeteria. We spend a few more minutes of him trying to interrogate me, and he says, "Well, I can't suspend you now, but I still got more of your friends to talk to, and I doubt that the 20-plus people who told me the same answer is lying, so in the meantime you can spend the rest of your day at CSI," which was their weird way of saying detention. So I'm in the hallway with the same security making my way to detention, and I see a member of Coventry boys named Mike who is in the school's basketball team. He's also walking with a school security, and when we cross path, we do a quick clap-up, which was really us saying, "Don't say too much." I get to the front door of detention, and when I look through the window door, any hype I had in me before drops straight out my ass. I see Wiz sitting in there with a Ziploc bag with ice in it on his left eye. I turn to the security and say, "You're seriously going to put me in the same room with the guy?" Trying to act more so confused than acting how I truly felt, which was scared for my life. Again, as you guys know, it was the dreads for me. The security says, "You said you didn't do anything, so there shouldn't be a problem." He got me, and I had to give it to him, so I just walked in. As soon as I walk in, Wiz sees me and gets up from his chair and says while pulling up his pants, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna need that," while he makes his way towards me. I prepare to fight for my life, but thank God there was a staff member there who watches the people at detention who got up and said, "Nuh-uh, we not having that in here. Y'all can fight y'all way to the office with that because I'm not with it." Wiz puts up his hand as if she told him to freeze, and he says, "I'm not gonna touch him, but I'm gonna need that," and sits back in his seat, mean mugging me. I walk up to the staff member and she gives me some worksheet that you are supposed to get done while you're at detention, but nobody ever does. And took a seat as far from Wiz as I can close to the door. Time is passing by and a group of dudes walk into the detention center. There was about 5 of them trying to make their way in, and some who were already in start scanning the room. I didn't recognize any of them, but I knew something was about to go down when Wiz gave them the head tilt. Wiz then asks them, "What y'all ugly ass doing here?" There was a dude in that 5 that was the tallest, probably 6'3", who we are going to call Jack, who said, "Mr. Brown bald head ass caught us skipping. But what happened to you, boy? I heard someone took off on you." I let out a sigh because as it was just my luck, I'm about to have to clutch a 1v6 and they are literally hovering above me since I picked the seat closest to the door. Wiz says, "It's Buddy right there," and they all turn to me. I just look up at them and try to make myself look bigger while sitting down by fully sitting up, trying to show them that I'm 6'1". One of them, who I guessed was the comedian of the group because of what was about to happen next, said, "Aw, hell no," and they all started laughing. The staff lady then says, "Please come get this paper and have a seat, this ain't a reunion." Jack says, "Wait, we have to do classwork or some shit," and takes my paper that was on my desk to look at it. Now, like I said, nobody ever does the worksheet, but I know him grabbing it from the top of my desk was him trying to assert dominance, so I snatch it back from his hands. His mood changes and he points at me, literally touching my forehead, and says, "Hey, nigga, quit playing with me with cho goofy ass." I then say, "Get your," and then gesture as if I was about to bite his finger. "Get your finger out my face." He pulls back and tries to make me flinch by acting like he was about to swing and say, "I wish you would bite me, nigga." The staff lady then says louder, "Nah, I'm not about to deal with this. Y'all can go back to the office with that." Jack then says, "Nah, miss, we good. I was just playing with him. I got class with him," and made his way with the rest of them, following him to the staff desk to get the worksheet. I didn't know him or have class with him, but I guess if I said otherwise, it would have been considered snitching, so I was just quiet and assumed that he must be the leader of that group. It's around second period, and I'm asking myself, where the hell are the Coventry boys? I wasn't the only one in that cafeteria, so why am I the only one here right now? I at least should have seen Mike in here with me by now, since I saw him as I was making my way to the detention center. Did they snitch on me? Time is going on, and to kill time, I actually do the worksheet. When it's time to turn it in, I get up to give it to the staff lady. And that's when the air quotations comedian started his jokes. Now, there's a certain type of joking you guys are familiar with called roasting. Usually when you roast someone, it has to make sense in order for it to be considered funny. For example, if you're roasting someone fat, you would say, "Lizzo-looking ass," or something that would make sense. Well, with this guy, I feel like he was talking out his ass because I didn't understand half of the roast he was saying. I'm walking up to the lady and all I hear is "Jujubee looking ass, thong, 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 looking ass, looking ass, looking ass." I pay him no mind and just let out a sigh while shaking my head. He then says, "Disappointed dad head ass. Oh, Gary, why you had to go head ass? She took the kid's head ass." Wiz and his whole group are laughing, but the type of laugh you try to keep down. I gave her the paper and she says that after third period that I would have to go to the classes that I missed so far and would continue to miss the rest of the day to collect any homework that I missed and complete it there for the remainder of the day. I turn back to make my way to my desk, and I see my book bag all the way across the other room with a guy from that group sitting at my seat. When I make my way up to him, he just looks up to me with a blank face as if he's waiting for me to say something. I hear the group giggling and figure they was trying to fuck with me again. I turn to the lady and she's not paying attention, and I turn back to the dude at my seat. We will call this guy Savage because, to be honest, he was very intimidating looking, as he looked like 21 Savage with a low afro and no tattoo. I hear the staff lady say, "There's a problem," and I say, "No, it's okay," while I smile, shaking my head while I make my way to another desk. "Oh, now I'm a proud dad head ass, son of a gun head ass, can't live with them, can't live without them head ass," the comedian is saying as I grab my bag and sit somewhere else. Time is going, and the third period bell rings, and I get up to go and collect my homework from the classes that I missed and were going to miss. Wiz and his group then gets up and start trying to follow me out. My heart drops as I thought to myself that it's over for me, and it's been a nice run. The staff lady then says, "Nuh-uh. Where y'all think y'all going?" Jack says, "I thought you said to collect your classwork." She then says, "He finished the worksheet. None of y'all gave me anything because y'all was thinking y'all was just gonna play in here. You can get it after school." I continue making my way out, thanking God for being my shepherd. While collecting my papers, I see a member of the Coventry boys, who we are going to call Julio, in the hallway. I feel relief like a lost kid at an airport who just found his mom and wave and run to him. I then say, "Damn kid, you guys didn't get slayed for that shit in the cafeteria." Julio then says, "Yeah, them niggas gave us CSI." And then I'm like, "Bro, where y'all niggas at? They got me there with that boy and his people." Julio then laughs and says, "What? Bro, we all just went and are vibing at the gym. You're never supposed to actually go to that shit." Side note, the gym was always filled with the number of 2 classes in one and was hard to keep track of because the original PE teacher quit, so it was always just substitute teacher after substitute until they found a new teacher. Julio then says, "You tripping, bruh, but fuck it, just slide over there with us." I say, "Bruh, the lady at the CSI already saw me. She just sent me out to collect my homework and shit." Julio then says, "Bruh, so what, just slide? She will be all right." I say, "I'm not trying to get myself in more trouble. Can you guys just come to CSI? I was a law-abiding citizen and was never the type of kid to skip class." I see he's about to give a no, so I added, "Bro, come on, it's the Coventry boys. Y'all can't leave me hanging with those people." Julio then laughs and says, "All right, bro, I'm gonna see if they slide." I say, "If they don't come, can you at least come?" Not gonna lie, I was begging like a whole bitch, but I didn't care. Julio just keeps laughing and says, I got you, and claps me up, making his way back. I get back to CSI and see Wiz and his group stop talking and look at me as if they were talking about me. I already knew they made up a plan to jump me after school. So now all I can do is hope that Julio came through to save the day. Time is going on, and it's around 4th period time. The staff lady gets up and says, "I'm gonna go grab my food from the employee lunchroom. I'll be right back." Now you would think she would have known better than to not only leave kids in a room alone, but also not to leave kids alone in a room, especially when they have a problem with each other. But hey, that's why it was a B school. Wiz and his group don't really react, but I know they didn't want her to think that there was going to be a problem when there was. So one of them gave her a thumbs up, while the others were acting like they was doing the worksheet. I honestly at that point want to tell her, "Don't leave me and just go full bitch mode." But then I thought to myself, you're in this position only because of yourself. You've made your bed and now it's time to lay in it. So I just start cracking my fingers, getting ready to fight for my life. She's making her way to the door to leave, and the best way for you guys to understand what happened is this video.
Captain Sam, can you hear me? On your left.
Coventry boys finally show up with my sister, and I couldn't help but start smiling like a motherfucker, and honestly, I almost cried. The staff teacher say, "Whoa, whoa, where are all of you coming from?" Day says, "Mr. Brown sent us down here." Mr. Brown was a staff member at the school who always had a reason to send students to CSI, so it wasn't hard to believe the number of people who actually went. My sister says, "Not me, I just had to drop off my brother the house keys because I'm staying for practice." She didn't have practice, but I know she just wanted to check up on me. I walk up to her to get the keys, and she asks, "You good, little bro?" I tell her, "Yeah, trust me, I'm good. I'll talk to you when you get home." And she walks away. The staff teacher then says, "All right, hurry up. Grab this paper and have a seat," because I was just about to walk out. They each grab a worksheet and sit next to me as the staff lady walks out and says, "I'm leaving the door open. If I hear any ruckus from down the hall, best believe I'm sending all of you guys to the office," and leaves while us and Wiz Group are eyeing each other. Now, before I continue, I'm going to keep it real with you guys as usual. I had the Coventry boys there with me, so I knew I wasn't going to get jumped or anything. They didn't know what happened with me in the room with these guys, and the smart thing to do was to just leave it alone and leave school with protection. But I've been having to deal with these guys screwing with me this whole time while I was by myself, so you can imagine how I felt when the 1v6 was a 6v6. Your boy wanted some get back. So I go and say, "I'm not gonna lie, y'all boys, it's pressure with them fuck niggas over there, especially Mr. Funny Guy right there," while pointing at the wannabe comedian from Wiz side. The comedian stands up and says, "What nigga, you ain't about shit." I get up and say, "What boy? What you mean, bitch? We already knocked your boy out over there," while pointing at Wiz. Wiz gets up and says, "Boy, you ain't do shit. It was that fuck nigga over there," while pointing at Day. Day then gets up and says, "I got your fuck nigga right here," holding out the hand he knocked Wiz out with. Jack then stands up and says, "Oh, bet, so you're the one I'm gonna fuck up." And then Corbin Blue from the football field I told you guys from part 1 gets up and says, "Nah, don't do that to yourself, my nigga." I then turn to Savage, who, I shit you not, has kept the same face he had when he was sitting in my seat this whole time. I say, "And you see your bitch ass? I didn't like how you took my seat. I really want to see you sleeping too." He stood up and just looked at me with the same face without saying anything. At that point, I'm looking at him like,
"But I am telling you right now, that motherfucker back there is not real. And you can sit on this plane and you can fucking die with them or not. I'm not going to." Bye.
So we are going back and forth, just straight up, fuck you this, your mama that, pussy boy over there, faggot over here, really starting to get loud. Day then, calming us down, says to us, "Hold it down, y'all boys. That lady gonna trip on us. We don't need to do all this talking." And turns to Wiz and his group and says, "Y'all boys want to play tag after school?" I look at Day and say, "Huh?" And Jack on Wiz's side says, "Shit, you ain't saying nothing but a word bet that." Then Day then says, "Okay, then we got nothing else to say," and sits back down while everyone else sits back down. I'm sitting down looking at Day and wanted to ask him if we are dead-ass going to settle all of this over a game of tag, which low-key I wouldn't have a problem with because, again, I'm a lover, not a fighter. Each side is still throwing small jabs left and right, and the staff lady walks back in, and everyone gets quiet. So while we all chilling, I take out a sheet of paper and write on it, asking Day what was tag. I pass the paper to him and he writes on it and passes it back to me. So apparently a tag is just another word for saying team fighting. We are supposed to meet on our football field since it was the only place at the school where we guaranteed wouldn't get caught by anyone because the football field was closed due to the football team being disbanded because a lot of the players had anger issues and made every football game into a hockey fight. And it must have been some samurai code of honor shit because after the last school bell rang, both me and the Coventry boys and Wiz with his other group both walked out, looked at each other, and proceeded to walk away from each other, with some making their way to the football field and others meeting up with their friends. I'm with Day and we make our way to the school bus where my sister is at. When I see her, I tell her everything that happened from the cafeteria to the game of tag. As the good big sister she is, she tells me fuck that tag bullshit and to come on the bus with her and just go home. And as the dumbass little brother I am, I say that I can't leave the Coventry boys to fight my battle for me like I had her do for me. She tells me to stop being dumb and to leave with her, but that hype that the Coventry boys gave me has been running through me all day. She then tries to stay with me, but I tell her that it will only make things worse. And Day tells her, "Don't worry, I'm gonna make sure nothing happens to him. We're gonna take the city bus back after." After going back and forth, my sister finally says, "I'm gonna fuck Alexandra up when I see her," and makes her way onto the bus. Me and Day are making our way to the football field, and he tells me, "Trust me, bro, you're good. That nigga like 2 feet compared to your big ass." I tell him I'm not worried about that boy, I just hope after this we don't have to worry about this bullshit anymore. But to be honest, I was pretty nervous. Around that time I've only been in 2 fights, one in elementary and one in middle school, which I lost. I didn't know what to expect from this one, but what I did know for sure is I've seen enough videos to know how fights go, or so I thought. When we make our way to the football field, I see the Coventry boys at the entrance waiting for us. We walk up to them and make our way inside. Now I think it's a perfect time to introduce you guys to each member of the Coventry boys. There was your boy Dapper the rookie, Day the leader, Corbin Bleu the tallest one in the group, Mike the basketball player, Julio the Dominican one who was black but would be quick to remind you that he was in fact Dominican, and Ricardo, who apparently was a real Crip gangbanger, but TBH, I always to this day feel like he was a liar and just as pussy as me. So we are walking and see Wiz and his people chilling on the bleachers. We walk up to them and Day says, all right, let's run it, and we move behind the bleachers. Now, as I said before, tag was just another way of saying team fight, but the way it's really supposed to go is you fight with one person one-on-one, and if you or the other person is losing, you guys can just tag another person in IE tag. But the problem with that is some people would be too eager to fight and just tag themselves in by touching the person's back. Now you can imagine when the other team sees that and realizes it's low-key a 2v1, they start to tag themselves in also. And then it just ends up an all-out team brawl at that point. I learned this because it was the exact thing that happened here. Now we are behind the bleachers and I'm getting ready to fight Wiz. Now, as I said before, I've never been in a fight, but I've seen fights before in real life and videos, and I thought it was fight etiquette that when you begin, you and the person just press each other chest together and tell the other person to swing, and this was supposed to go for like at least 15 seconds before someone finally swings, which was going to be me. But boy, was I wrong. We move up to each other, and I do the chest thing and tell him to swing while counting to 15 in my head. And boy, did he not need me to tell him twice. Boom, pow, he starts connecting me with punches to the face. I'm taking steps back, trying not to trip over myself, because in my head I'm thinking, wait, it hasn't been even 5 seconds though. I hear Day in the back saying, boy, quit fucking playing with me and drop that nigga before I get mad. I gained my footing and took the order, and while Wiz was hitting me, I grabbed him and hit him with one of these. Now, Wiz was not knocked out, but I pretty much had him like this pinned to the ground, but with his face looking up to me. I knew that slam hurted like a motherfucker, so I'm just holding him to the ground for him to say he quit, when all of a sudden I hear Day behind my ear say, I'm saying, though, why you keep looking at me like that, though? And I already knew he was talking about Savage, and that blank face he was probably giving Day. Next thing you know, Day says, man, fuck this shit, and taps my shoulder and proceeds to run straight to Savage and just start welling punches on him. After that, it didn't take long for it to turn into a team fight. I'm so lost in the chaos I didn't realize my guard was down, and Wiz headbutts me in my left eye, and I fall back, covering it with my hand. I'm pissed off at that point and use my right eye to see him getting up and running towards the restrooms at the football field. I get up and chase him into the restroom. I open the restroom door and see that the school decided to use it as a temporary storage, since there was a bunch of stacked up chairs they would use for the bench players when we had football home games. I pick a chair up as a weapon and walk to the toilet stalls. I kick one door open and nothing. I move to the next one and kick it open, and I see Wiz, who yells, wait, stop, I give up. He just headbutted me in the eye, and I wasn't trying to hear any of that, so I start hitting him with the chair as if it's a WWE match. Boom, ping, pow. He's on the ground, and I start stomping him out until I started to hear him crying. I stop kicking him and see him in the pangolin position actually crying. I'm confused, so I yell at him asking, why the fuck you're crying for? He says, please, bro, with his hands up as if I'm the police. I lowered my voice and said, what do you mean, please? He's still crying, and at that point I'm feeling bad, so I just let out a sigh and hold out my hand to him saying, all right, bro, you good, get up. I help him up and ask him, what do you mean you didn't want this? And when I tell you the next thing that comes out, this boy mouth widens my eyes. He says, bro, everything about this. I never wanted to fight you in the first place. I just didn't want to look pussy in front of my friends. I say, then why did you call my phone talking about don't call Alexandra or I'm going to beat your ass? He says, bruh, me and Alexandra just started talking, and one time when my boys were with me to go check on her during her practice, and when they saw her on the phone with some dude, they told me to check her and you. And then when you or your little brother called and cursed her out, the boys then told me that I had to check you in person. When I tell you guys, everything is coming full circle for me. He keeps going on saying, but I didn't know it was you until when I was walking with Alexandra. And when she saw you walking, she told me it was you who cursed her out on the phone. I didn't want no problems with you once I saw how tall you was, but I didn't want to look soft in front of Alexandra, so I just asked you a question that I already knew just to make her feel like I did something. And then I jump in and say, And that was supposed to be it until my sister saw and confronted you and her in front of those same friends, huh? He says, yeah, and I honestly start laughing. He looks at me and says, what's so funny? I really want to tell him that I was in the same position as him, but don't, and say, shaking my head, nothing, bro, continue though. He continues and says, I didn't want Alexandra to get beat up by your sister, so I really wanted the drama to be done. But my friend said that your sister talking for you was a coward move, and that I definitely had to fight you. I never had it in me to fight you, but I wanted to look cool for them, so when I saw you in the cafeteria, I sized you up. I was really done after that, but when I was at my table, your mans came up to me and told me that you wanted to check me. I then say in a very frustrated tone, because why not leave it alone from the last day? You wouldn't have been in this bullshit if you just left me alone. Wiz then says, pinching the bridge of his nose, fuck. I know even then when I was talking to your friend, I was still trying to not look soft in front of the group, saying to him how they was really feeling about the situation and didn't know how deep I was in until I was knocked out. I then say, so after Day knocked you out, then it was personal for you at CSI, huh? He says, bruh, believe it or not, no, it wasn't personal for me then. I was asking for it at that point with sizing you and all. I wasn't angry at you or him, really just heartbroken, because after word got around and Alexandra found out, she left me because she didn't feel like I could protect her. What a fucking bitch, I say with a disgust face, and he sucks his teeth and says, tell me about it. I've been trying to get with her since 7th grade middle school. At that point I was acting mad, but really I was sad that I lost my only chance to date the girl I've always wanted. I started to glance around the bathroom and say to myself out loud, this is so fucking stupid, all this over a bitch none of us ended up with at the end of the day. Wiz says, I know, bruh, I'm sorry, and puts out his hand for a clap up. I start chuckling and clap him up, saying, you good, bruh, look, after today you'll go your way and I'll go mine. He says, bet. And I say, what now? Wiz then says, honestly, nigga, I need some new friends. And we both laugh, and I say we should probably tell them to stop fighting. And when we make our way out the bathroom, we see that there's nobody at the bleacher except for the school security. We hurry back into the bathroom, and I say, shit, I guess security saw the fight and they all evacuated. Wiz then says, yeah, probably, but we good. We just have to go out another way because we're not even supposed to be here. He leads the way to a fence behind the restroom area, and we hop the fence. We make our way off the school property, and I tell him, all right, bruh, I gotta catch the city bus back home. Wiz says, all right, I'm gonna call my mom to come and get me. I say, what do we tell our group when we see them? Wiz says, I don't know about you, but I'm going to tell them the truth. And they can take it or not be cool with me anymore, but I'm not doing this anymore. I say, all right, man, sorry for everything that happened. And he says, no, it was my fault. And I start walking to the city bus stop while he starts walking to the school car pickup area. I make it on time to the bus stop, and I don't see any of the Coventry boys there. Once on the bus, I text my sister that I'm on my way home and tell her that we ended up never fighting and just talked it out. I kind of didn't want to because Alexandra deserved an ass beating, but I was done with the drama. Now, while riding on the bus, I had time to think to myself, the same way I was in deep shit because of lying just to kick it, someone else was doing the same. I could have been home by now playing video games and just living a peaceful life, but because I was trying to be cool, I ended up in CSI, having to fight, and ended up taking the city bus home. If there was a moral of the story, I would say, you don't have to lie to kick it. Be yourself, and who you truly are, because the people who you think you want to be aren't even themselves. I thought about how Wiz said that he was going to tell them the truth, and how it is what it is, and I thought to myself I should do the same thing. I didn't care for being in a popular group anymore. Everybody in school knowing where your classes are at and whatever drama you're in wasn't for me. Even if I lost every Coventry boy as a friend, I still had Christian as a friend whom I could be my true video game comic reading self with. Now that was the plan, until what ended up happening the next day. Goddamn, this was a long one. Like I said, if you guys want a part 3 faster than usual, then get this video to 1,000 likes. I know out of 19,000 of y'all, 1,000 can like this video. And speaking of 19,000, we are almost to 20k subs, you guys, and I wanted to say I love each and every one of you for that. Best believe I have a surprise for you guys when we do hit it. Well, that will be all for today. If you have any topics you would like for the Don to help you with, be sure to leave a comment, subscribe and hit the bell notification, and like and share the video. I'm Dapper the Don, and have a good day.